All right, welcome to Class 5 of Excel. My name is Don. This is Excel Core, by the way. Pants are still optional for this class, and after this class, you could just go pants free for the rest of your time at home. All right, what we're going to do today is kind of like the cleanup to everything else that I didn't get to in the last sessions. So one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to bring in some fixed width data. Now, when you download this set of data, the handout and the data that goes along with it, you should get, let's make sure we're here, you should get something that says session 5, and when I bring it in, it'll say fixed width data and a koala too. So I put that in session 5 on my desktop. I want to bring in fixed width data. Even though we are well into the 21st century, there'll be a lot of companies out there that have older programs, and when they print off reports, they'll be in fixed width. We could still use those in our new 21st century Excel program, and we could even put them in the right cells if we just do a little formatting. So I'm going to File, Open, and I'll go onto my desktop, and in there, session 5. Instead of going to session 5, I'm going to look for all files, which will now show me the one fixed width with data. Click on this. Now, it comes up and it says, here is the first quarter for France, Germany, and Spain. And I could have it delimited, which means that I could have it with commas in it. That's what we did for stocks, I believe. But this one's fixed width because it's got spaces there. I'll click on Next, and it kind of guessed for me how it should be. Well, it guessed okay. There's one line right here that we really don't need after 2017. So I'm going to click on that up arrow, click, hold, and drag towards the end. And now it's starting to look pretty good. France, Germany, and Spain, they're all in the right spots. Click on Next. One last finish, and poof, there we go. Looks pretty good for the cash flow other than the title up on the top. So I'm going to click on the B. Well, heck, I'll click on the B, select the H flow, Control X is an X-ray, come back here to the new one, and paste, Control V. So there you go, the 2017 cash flow summary. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this into money, selecting 55,000 to 155,000, $, and I'll make the totals. I remember doing this with you before, so I'm not going to bore you with the possible problems. So I'm going to click to the end of France, come up here to the auto sum, looks above me, entered 400,000, select that all the way across to totals, and now I'm going to go down. Auto sum looks to the left hand side, click on that, and drag it down. $1.4 million in 2017 cash flow. Now I want to make this, instead of calling it fixed width data, I'm going to say, double click on it and call it 2017 cash flow. Now, by some fluke, 2018 and 2019 are identical. So I'm going to right click on 2017, come down here to where it says move and copy with the 3 dots, which you can't see right now. I'll bring it back up here. Right click, I can come down here to the move and copy with the 3 dots, the ellipsis, which means it's going to ask us something. And now I'm going to say, yes, I want to create a copy, move it to the end. And there you go. Now I have 2017-2, which I'll make 2018 cash flow. And now right click, move or copy, move to the end, create a copy, 2019 cash flow. All right, so the boss says, hey, that's really cool. What I'd like to do is I'd like to know what the total cash flow is over those last 3 years. All right, I'm going to copy the 2019 to another tab and call it total cash flow. All right, now I haven't updated the headers up here. So 2018 still has 2017, etc. But total cash flow. I typed in everything from the 55,000 on France down to 155. So I don't want that there. That's going to be useless to me. I don't want to have to do the math in my head. So I'm going to select in the middle of the 55,000 for France, drag it down to 155, and hit the delete key. When I do, they all disappear. Now I'd like to sum up all of the cells before that on 2017, 2018, and 2019. I would know how to do it if it was in the same sheet, but in this case, it's in a different sheets. So what I want to do with that is I want to use my f of x, which to a mathematician, that's a function. And when I click on it, it says, hey, show me all the functions that Excel has. And it's giving me a list of all of them. Well, there's the sum that I want. But now when I click OK, instead of saying, yep, gave me the little tooltip, this gives me a wizard that says, okay, what do you want number 1 to be and number 2? And on the right-hand side, I have a little arrow that says, yep, just point to it. So I could go to the 2017 cash flow, click on France first quarter, and I can see that this gibberish right here, which tells me that I'm going to a different sheet within my workbook, will give me 55,000. Click on number 2, 2018 cash flow, France first quarter. Number 3, 2019, France first quarter. And then I can see on the right-hand side, it says 55,000, 55,000, and 55,000 gives me 165,000. Yep, that's kind of what I would expect. Click OK, and there we are. We have our first one for France first quarter. I could do it to the remaining 11 of them, but that I'm way too lazy for. So instead, I would like to copy this down to Spain fourth quarter. Normally, I would show you how to do this using autofill. But one of the drawbacks behind autofill is it only works in one direction. If I click down and drag it down, that means I'm going to copy this series down. If I also try to go to the right, now all of a sudden it says, oh, you don't want to go down, you want to go across. So autofill only goes in one direction, whether that's down, across, up, etc. So that's why I still ask people to remember the copy and paste, because that goes in both directions. Click on this, Control C as in Charlie, click on the France first quarter and drag it down here to Spain fourth quarter, and Control V as in Victor. Boom. Went ahead and copied it all the way through. Again, the marching ants, I'm going to hit the escape key, spelled just like escape, and it disappears. France and Germany are a little bit too big, so I'm going to double click those, and look at that. Everything looks pretty good. Except for Germany. It looks like they were eating too much Wiener Schnitzel for Oktoberfest, and they forgot to do any sales. Well, I think it's actually a typo. So I'm going to go back and change 2017, 18, and 19, and hopefully it will change my total cash flow. 2017, I'll say, is 100,000. 2018 is 200,000. And 2019 is again 200,000. So 200,000 plus 200,000 plus 100,000 should give me a cool $500,000. And sure enough, I come here to Germany fourth quarter, and it gives me $500,000. All right, so this is how to get sheets to talk to one another. In class 2, in the Excel Core Expert, I'll show you how to do it the same thing with having workbooks talking to one another. But it is basically the same thing. You copy it from one place, you come over here to the new location, and instead of pasting it, you paste special and you paste a link. Similar to what we've done right here. All right, coffee break. All right, now I want to make these tabs look a little bit different. I want 2017, 18, and 19 to have a look of yellow, and then a total cash flow being green. I'll select the cash flow 2017, and if I move this up, I'll get rid of this one for right now. Move this up a little bit, right click, I could come down here to where it says tab color. There you go, you can still see it. We have our theme colors, etc. So I'll just pick yellow. And there we go. If I wanted to select multiple ones, I could hold down the control key while I'm selecting them, right click, tab color, yellow. So now I've made multiple ones yellow. Oh, looks like I missed the first one. It was a little orange. So we'll do all of them. Click, tab color, yellow. And now the total cash flow, I want that to be green. Right click, tab color. And I'll come up here a little bit further. We have our normal 200 and, I guess this one is 64 colors here for our theme colors. But if I go to the more colors down below that, that gives me the 256 standard colors of an RGB monitor. That was way long ago, 20 years ago plus. Or you could go to the 16 million different colors that you could do by mixing 255 shades of red, green, and blue. So we can slide this up and around and then move this to a certain point. This gives us our RGB values. So we can have just about any color that the human eye can perceive. All right, beautiful. Now I will go on to dealing with lots of rows and columns and bringing back my other spreadsheet. Nope, other one. Right here, and going here to stocks. All right, so I can see I have date, high, open, close, etc. This is pretty good. I mean, this is the data that I want, but as soon as I start going down a little bit lower, I'm going to lose which one was open, which one was closed. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure that as I move this down or move across, that I'm always going to keep the headers there and perhaps the first column to my left-hand side. So I'm going to come here to View and then Freeze Panes. I could freeze just the top row, I could freeze the first column, but that's not going to be very useful here. I'm down one additional column. So instead, I'm going to go to the first column that I want, or the first cell that I want to disappear. Meaning, if I start going down, this will be the first cell that disappears up. If I start moving to the right, this will be the first cell that disappears to the left. So then I come here to Freeze Panes, and I'll click the first one, Freeze Panes. Boom. When I do this, I get a line at the bottom of all of my titles and on the right-hand side of the date. But as I start sliding down, I can see the date still there, open, high, lows, and close for Apple, Microsoft, and the Dow. And if I wanted to continue on to the right-hand side, down here, now my date sticks, and I could see high, low, and close for Microsoft or the Dow if it wasn't there. All right, so I'm going to come back up here. Again, this works out well if I come down pretty far. I can see that I've missed it. It goes 1, 2, 336. So as I go up, I could see more rows. Go down, I would see different ones. Go all the way up to the top again, Control up. It'll take me to the header, but then if I just arrow down once, I can see the start of my data. All right, this looks pretty good, but I don't want this here. This looks good for my screen, but I also want it to be printed off nicely. First off, I'm going to get rid of my Freeze Panes. Click on Freeze Panes, and now all I have left is to unfreeze the panes. Boom, there we are. Now, for my page layout, what I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure that my header is across the top on all of these. So I believe if I come here to Sheet Options, and then I click on the lower right-hand side, the corner on the upper left-hand side, it looks like a left-hand corner with an arrow. This brings me up to an additional piece that says Page Setup. This gives me my print area, and I can also have rows to repeat at top and columns to repeat at left. I'm showing you this way because if we go in using File, Print, in the page setup that we were using before, it shows up here, but I can't make any changes to it. So we actually have to go through using our page layout sheet options to say the rows that I want to repeat at top. Again, it gives me that arrow, so I can select, and I want 2 to repeat at the top, and columns to repeat at left. I always want to repeat, say, this date. I can also do things such as print the grid lines. On the first class, I showed you that we can draw out our borders, but instead, if we didn't want to do that, I could put in the grid lines if I want. I can make it black and white and various other fun stuff. But when I click OK, there it is. File, print, and now date, high, open, close, etc. Go down one sheet, and look at that. Date, date, date. And I can go all the way down to say like the next one. There we go. And again, it's showing me the date, open, high, low, close. So you can repeat stuff at top and repeat stuff at left. All right. Coffee time. All right. Now, perhaps I want to go to a certain place in my spreadsheet very quickly. Like, this would be a nice place to say, ooh, the Dow's highest or the Apple's lowest values. So I'm going to go down here to the to Apple, go down all the way down to the bottom, and for sake of this, I'm just going to say that, yep, this 174 or this 150, actually 132, 126, 102, 95. Let's do the 95. I'm going to say that this is the lowest that the Apple stock got. So I want to name this. Instead of G735, I'm going to click on it and say low Apple. Low Apple. And then I'm also going to come up here and say that the 118 here is the high Apple. So I have certain cells that I want to call out to people. And I want them to be able to get to it very quickly. So I'm going to go over here to double A, and I'm going to say high or low Apple. Then I want to make that into a hyperlink that goes directly to that cell. Select on low Apple, hold down Control, and then K as in kilo. And when I do, it says, hey, you're going to create a hyperlink. Now, a hyperlink can go to multiple places. It doesn't have to go to a cell. We could go to an existing file, like I used to have mechanical drawings. When I would do the mathematics behind what I was doing, I would show it on the Excel document, click on it, and then you would go off to see the drawing. So you could do it on different different files and web pages. You could create an entirely new document. You could email it, say email me if you have questions about this particular workbook, or place in this document. When I do, I could actually type in the references. I could go to the different sheets, or here are my defined names. So low Apple, click on this, click OK. Now I have a link that will take me to low Apple. I'll also do high Apple. Control K as in kilo, high Apple, OK. Now I want to go to it. Low Apple, I get the finger that goes there, click, and sure enough, December 11th, 95 cents. Come back, high Apple, and it brings me right to the 118. So hyperlinks you could actually put in on a very complicated spreadsheet so that people will go to the places that you're wanting them to actually see. All right, so we have all this data, and if I'm going to start giving it out to people, perhaps I don't want them to know that I was the person that did it. I want them to look at it as a company, not as something like my work. So when we have an Excel document, it has a lot of data behind the scenes from us. And to see that, I can come here to File and Info. So on here, it says, oh, this was last modified on November 25th, 2019. Last printed was today. The author was me, last modified by me. The size, I could have had titles, tags, and categories here also, but I don't want any of that because when they see it, it should be timeless and I'm not necessarily the author. So I'm going to go to inspect the workbook and click on it. I can inspect for certain things, such as inspect the documents for hidden properties or information, which is what I want to do here. Check for accessibility. I might have done something that would make it hard for a screen reader to read for a person who's hard of seeing, and this would help it out. Or I could also check for compatibility. Although we're well into the 21st century, I might still have somebody who's working on an older version of Excel, or even an older version of Excel within this millennium. So we might want to check compatibility to make sure that it will be able to be used on everybody else's computer. In this case, again, I'll go to Inspect Document. It's going to look through my document, and it's going to look for comments, document properties, etc. And in this case, I'll inspect, and after a second it says, oh, you have a lot of personal data, author-related dates and things like that. Hey, do you want to get rid of that stuff? Yes, I do. Remove all. And then if I reinspect it, everything will be okay. But this is something that you should look at, because here's the things that you might not think about that are still out there when I give it to somebody else that might not be public information. Things like I saw down here, hidden names and then hidden worksheets, where I might have a lot of my calculations or business secrets. All right, beautiful. Come back here, sheet 1, and coffee break. On that and then drag it down. So instead of left click, drag it down, right click and drag it down. And when I do, then it comes up and cuts off half of this for you. So let me do this again, just so you can see it. Come down about right here. And now it says, hey, you could fill the series, fill with formatting, or linear trend, which is what we did before, or growth trend. That's what I want. Growth trend, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Now if I drag this down and growth trend, I could see that, yep, it does the binary kind of base 2 things. 1024, 248, 4096. All right, now again, other things. I showed you how to do dates before. 1/1/2020, and I could click it and drag it down in 1/2/1/3/1/4. That would be great. But again, using my right mouse button, click, hold, and drag down. Now, it's going to ask me, do I want to fill it with days or weekdays? So Monday through Friday instead of Saturdays and Sundays. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. What else can we do? I want to right click, drag it down. And now instead of weekdays, I could do it by months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or I could even do it by years. Right click, drag it down, format it by years, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, so again, autofill does even more than what I was showing you before with the people in our own series that we can be putting in. That was the Lions and Tigers and Bears, I think, or we did something else. Oh, we did the Star Wars movies. All right. Now, transposing data. So, when I was teaching at the Center for Economic Development, somebody came in and they said, hey, we've had a couple people working on this for a couple hours. So they spent, 8 man-hours trying to figure this out. And they said, we started off bad. And we have Abe, Ben, and Carl. And we have their numbers going to the right-hand side. Again, I'll just do 1, 1, 1. And of course, this is going to go really bad, because after a while, Abe, Ben, and Carl are going to get pushed off the end, and I'm just going to see numbers. Same problem, we could have frozen the panes right there. but they said, oh, it would be much better if we actually tilted this or rotated the numbers 90 degrees. So Abe, Ben, and Carl are the headers, and the numbers are down below. Is there an easy way to do this? And I said, absolutely. Select on all the numbers that you would like to transpose, which is the mathematical term for it. Come up here to Home, and then I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to start it right here. So Abe is going to be here, Ben, Carl, and the numbers are going to go down. And now instead of paste, I have all these different versions of paste, and one of those on the far right bottom of the first grouping is one that says transpose. Make columns into rows, rows into columns. Abe, Ben, and Carl. Click on that, and there you go. So that paste special will do a lot of different things for you. So it would be something that would be good to look at, not to just pass this upcoming test, but to actually help yourself out in real-world situations. So again, if I selected this and copy it, and then I come over here to paste, this is going to show me the different things that I can do, such as I could just paste the column widths. So some of us have like larger widths, smaller widths, etc. And they said, hey, when I copy this information over, is there a nice way to just copy the cell widths too? And I said, yep, that's the way to do it right here. You could paste just the numbers, or you could paste also the locations. So you could paste a link. So I'm going to click on that and paste this link. This is, again, something that you can do between multiple workbooks or worksheets. So right now, Abe's first one is 1. I don't think it should be 1, it should be 5. Change it in one place, it automatically changes where it was located, where it was linked to. So, makes it nice and easy for you. All right, one more coffee break, and this might be a very quick video. All right, so we have all of our stocks right here. I'm going to go back to this one, and I want to make the cells look different based upon what I wanted it to do. So I want to give the cells some style. Now I've done conditional formatting with you, but there's also in the style grouping, there's just this big normal, bad, good, neutral, etc. And that's one way to quickly look at a cell and go, yeah, I like this, or I don't like this, or make it look somewhat different. So I'm going to say, oh, I really like this 118, so I want to make it look good. I'm going to come up here to the styles, go over good. When I click on it, I have green with a green background. Beautiful. If I say, hey, this whole week or this whole month looks really bad, I could select all this and click on the red to make it bad. Now, there's a lot more than just what I see there as the 8. In fact, again, this one has the lower right-hand side. It has an upside-down eject button that when I click on it, it shows me a bunch of different ways to look at this. So I could say that I have themed, and I also have numbers stuff, so I can make it look like commas or currency or percent. So in this case, I'm going to put it down as warning text in this case. So, whoops, I'll select this and say, select on this and say warning text. So it's just red text. Now, that looks pretty good, but I really want to make it look just slightly better. So I don't want it to have warning text as just red. I want it to be red with a yellow background to it. So how do I change this warning text right here so that I can adjust the style? So I'm going to come down here first, click on this, come down here to warning text. Now, click on this, warning text, and when I right click over the top of it, it gives me a context sensitive menu, and one of those says modify. When I modify it, it says how would you like to modify it, the numbers, the alignment, the border, or fill. Hey, we wanted a yellow background to that. So I'm going to click on the fill, and now when I format it, sorry, there's my fill. I'll make it into a yellow fill. Click OK. Now I have my fill is shaded, I have a certain font. Click OK. And the great part about this is not only does it change the one that I have here, along with changing what my styles were up above, but it also changes any cell that was also that style. So if you give your cells more information about it, what is this cell, by using a style, you could go up there, change that look, and it will change all the cells based upon that style. give more context to it. That's also something that I talk about in Word. If you give each paragraph its own context, its own style, then changing it in one place will change everything. All right, I'm pretty much done with this because I went long on quite a few other ones. So you guys get lucky with this one. It looks like you're only done like about 20-25 minutes. You're also going to say, oh my God, he didn't ask me a question. There is one question, and it's going to be, what is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And if you don't know it, you can Google it, but it's 42. So I think if you just type in the numbers 42, you're done. All right, again, if there are any questions, please contact me. I would love to help you out. I noticed that there's been a couple emails. I'm sorry, I apologize for not getting back to you sooner. I've been a little busy, unfortunately. So good luck, and hopefully we'll learn about the tests when all of this virus stuff goes away.